Hello, viewers. Today, let me begin by making a disclaimer. Personally, I'm not a fan of English philosophers, but Thomas Hobbes had this to say about the social contract theory, that a government has a responsibility, or a state has a responsibility to provide its citizens with social services, among which and top priority is security. Well, the government of Uganda, in its budgetary allocation, continues to allocate sufficient funds to the aspect of security. We hope that this allocation translates into actual status of security in the country. Well, to the contrary, we have witnessed a very unfortunate incident about a fortnight ago, where the ADF attacked our young brothers and sisters in Kasese, and now the death toll has reached, I think, 43 innocent lives lost. And the casualties continue to, rise. So the issue of security has become of great concern. Of course, you'll remember in the past couple of months as well, there were so many, killings here and there, very unfortunate and very extra-constitutional. Well, we shall talk about that and much more, and I'm very excited to, introduce to you our panel this afternoon. But also, you know that the Honorable NRM-Mapenduzi, who is actually my member of parliament in Laibi Badege constituency, was chairing a committee appointed by the National Unity Platform, and now he happens to chair another committee appointed by the National Resistance Movement. Is this the new discourse of political dispensation? We shall talk about that as well. And to put all this into perspective is a panel of distinguished young people. That is now my pleasure to introduce to you, and in no particular order, from the Uganda Young Democrats is its Deputy President, Helen Sayuni. Helen, Your Excellency, karibu.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
How are the Young Democrats?
I think we are doing really very well in all aspects. Yeah.
All right. Next to myself is someone who calls himself the son of the equator. The name is Nimrod Kakai. Nimrod is a member of the National Resistance Movement Youth League. Ndugu, karibuni.
Thank you. Good afternoon, our great viewers. It's always an honor to come here, but I will make a disclaimer. I'm not a security expert, nor an analyst, but I'll share my views according to any other normal citizen who gives keen attention to what goes around our great nation. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, a student of law at the prestigious Makerere University is Lawel Muhezi, and also a member of the Now generation. Lawel is a regular here. He gives us content from time and again. Lawel, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Lawel Muhezi. I also work with Zungumuze Africa. I am passionate about African conversation. I am glad to be here once again.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you as well. The last but not least is our guest this afternoon. That is, she is an entrepreneur, a florist, but also a media personality. Tyra Kandi Wolayo is the name. Tyra, we're happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm honored to be here and part of this team today, and looking forward to discussing what you actually introduced at the beginning. So thank you so much.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Ndugu Lawel Muhezi, security in the country. Let us just paint a picture of what is happening exactly. I don't know. What is your own evaluation? Should security be an aspect of the state, or we should be able to liberalize even security in itself? That as a citizen, you should be able to actually, like it is done in the West. They have the whole gun control thing, but you can own a gun, and so I don't know. Just paint us a picture about the status of security.
I think we should all have copied Nimrod when he first gave a disclaimer that he's not a security expert. I will also talk like a normal young Ugandan who is observing from my sitting room. I think we must understand that security should be priority for any country, because everything else is contingent on peace. So, which means that if there is no peace, then even the economics, the justice system cannot flourish. So I think it is always rationalized when the government decides to spend a lot on security. And also, I think Uganda is in a unique position given the region in which it is located. You realize there's instability in Congo, Sudan, you have constant attacks in Kenya, you have Somalia, but also our history of militarism, as I think puts us in a very wanting position where we need to constantly prioritize security. I do not think that then given that environment, there's going to be such a time when we are completely safe. I don't know if you get it. And for me, when I see like the attack in Kasese, which is somewhat close to a border district, I don't even when I think it is something that is sad, but I don't want us to get so much overwhelmed and then act as if now the country is not peaceful, as if it is unstable. I think that even when the government is doing all it can, you can always expect these one-off attacks on border districts, and I think for me, of course, I'm not a supporter of NRM, and I always want to put that disclaimer. But there are things that anyone should be able to understand, and I think the attack on Kasese and such continue to rationalize why Uganda is justified to have those peace or pacifying missions in Congo and Somalia and Sudan, because every time you don't go to Congo to alleviate that, then it means it's always going to have a ripple effect. So which means, if, for example, Uganda decided it's not going to enter Congo, it means ADF continues to generate capacity there and they can do much, much more harm to us than maybe they did. Even when we understand that, that doesn't mean that we don't hold the government accountable for the loss of those children. Because if we are spending a lot of money on security, we expect that even when there are attacks, we expect things like rapid response, right? We expect at least more security in border districts, or like Kasese, which has a history of ADF attacks. So I think for me, my biggest concern is if for example, as it said, the school was near barracks and police, you would have expected that there is going to be rapid response, at least to save the situation. Two, and I think we had that discussion when we discussed Somalia, is what is our intelligence capabilities? Because I think if you are a country that is constantly under threat, then you also need to invest a lot more in intelligence. Also, in times when there is no active war, then mostly the resources should be injected in intelligence. So for us to always act in shock, because these people entered, did whatever they did, there's no exchange, there's no response from us, which speaks maybe to the idea that there's no intelligence from our side. Yes, so I think that we need to up our game in terms of putting the resources where it matters most.
All right, fair enough. Helen, still your own perspective, but also if you look at the response that that government made, it came through the Minister of Education. Someone would have thought that the official statement would come from perhaps the Minister of Security or Defense. We saw the First Lady or the Education Minister make the statement, but also, these attacks are not in isolation, like Lawe wants to put it, because we have seen Karamoja, the continuous insecurity in Karamoja. Not so long ago, Kampala was a haven of, violence, shootings here and there. So, I don't know, paint us a picture in your own perspective.
Thank you so much for bringing this topic on board, because I believe that every right-thinking Ugandan or citizen should really be concerned about what is happening in this country in regard to the security aspect. Because when you look at the killings around the country, save for the Kasese, the shootings that have been taking place, it is an attack on the future of Uganda, because mostly it is the young people that are being affected. The guy who shot the Madeleine looked really very young. The Karamojong attacks, most of it affects the young people. And then when you look at the people that died in that Kasese attack, 42 of them I think are very young.
Children.
So it is really an attack on the future of Uganda, because without the young people, we will not have the Uganda that we all dream to have. But that aside, I think the Kasese saga is itself a reflection of what our country is at the moment. Because by the fact that you can have a whole dormitory burnt to ashes. I was watching news, and yesterday they said they cannot even recognize the DNAs of those kids. So by the time you have a whole dormitory burnt to ashes, and even the DNAs can't be testified, then there is a very big problem. And they tell us that there is a police station about 400 meters away from the school. And then we have an RDC, we have a DPC, we have all the security organs in a district. I think it was a test on the security of Uganda as a country. Not that it was just an ambush. It was a test to show you that the type of country that you're in, the state that you're in at the moment. Because that's not the only security that we've had, and I wait to hear maybe from police on what they are going to do next, because we've had attacks in this country before. I think the last that we had that was massive like that was the one of Chichwamba that was around in 1998 something. Yes, that is the last one that we had. But again, having it this time around after all this time shows that I really do not know what this ADF is about, because I don't think they're about to take power from government. So you wonder why they keep attacking this government, this country, because you would think that maybe they're attacking the government because they want power, they want to overthrow the government. But they come, throw a bomb here, police says it is ADF, they go back, come through another one, like that. So we want to have, if this government can come out exclusively and tell us that this ADF thing is about this exactly, so that Ugandans take caution on what these ADF guys want, really, because it is really deadly to keep on acting on speculations on the ADF people. And I think it is also it has also revealed to us that
And
our government.
Surprising how ADF in police are like democratic. So they are purportedly a democratic force. I don't know how that happens.
I do not want to go into that, because I don't know if they are democratic. Then I really wonder how democratic they can be to attack young people who have no power. Surely a democratic force should be looking for where maybe there is power, where there is a resource. But now you go and attack a school where kids are powerless. Kids are powerless. Kids have no resource, and you're just attacking, a helpless Ugandan who is not going to even fight back. We have had shootings in this country, and I've always thought that when, for example, they attacked Kawesa, I was like, now this one they killed the whole crew, so we don't even have where to start from. But then we've had General Katumba being attacked, and then the daughter dies and he survives as part of his security, but still we cannot even use the security that was on board, or even Katumba himself, to set a pace on how to do investigations on what took place. We have Ituli being shot and the driver survives. And I'm not saying that these people should be apprehended, but I'm saying like the security organs have where to start from. You have at least where to start from with the investigations. It's not that nobody was around, just like Kawesi, the whole thing was the whole evidence maybe could be, you don't have where to start from, But we have people like Katumba, a general, is attacked and the child dies, he survives with his security, but still we have not heard from security anything, like investigations are taking place, or they took place and this happened. So also having this kind of thing where investigations stop in the middle, and then we keep quiet, and then we again speak when something else happens is something that we should really be concerned about. Because if we are to talk about security and then we only talk when something has risen, then we should also question our credibility for the security organ, and for all of us as citizens. I believe security should be an issue for us as citizens, because first of all, you're supposed to protect yourself even before government protects you, because wherever you are there, but maybe the security may not be there. But that put aside, we need to question the credibility, and also the the work of the security organ in the Kasese area, where the killing of all that big number of people took place in a night. Really, a dormitory burning and you killing. The way I was looking at the pictures and how those kids were killed, really, I do not think that there is no alarm that could be heard in about 400 meters, because that is really a very short distance. Or
Actually,
even
I
the
think
neighbors, yeah.
security actually considered that there was laxity. They did consider that, you know, the intelligence was not up to speed, and that is why that happened.
And
So there was an admission of
negligence. So
of
there should really be worry all throughout the country. And you know, one of the biggest insecurities that we have also is the long-serving government. It is one of the key insecurities that we have. But you know, people do not want to admit that. But having a government that has been in power for over these years, I've never seen a new government, then is also part of insecurity, by the way. That's why we can never tell what ADF wants, you know, by attacking Ugandans. But
I just have an inquiry. Did the ADF claim the attack, that they're the ones who did it?
they did not. And
They did
you know, the first lady went, and then they said there were wrangles about the school. You know, police was and the UPDF was so fast to issue a statement and say it is ADF.
yeah.
When the first lady went on ground, she also gave us different information, so we cannot know which is which. And this is where I also want to really urge that we sometimes need to be serious as a country. I think it was not a serious decision to send the first lady to that ground. We've had serious matters in the education sector where she's a minister, she never comes out. But now it is a security issue where I am sure she doesn't know anything, and then all of a sudden, just like Semuju said, the babe go, you know.
Okay, how to bring
So-
it in? How to bring in Nimrod? Nimrod, point number 2 of the 10 points program of the NRA then was security. I don't know, with all these happenings, is it an indictment on, you know, the ability of the NRM to deal with security?
Well, thank you. I've had very interesting views from my fellow young people here. For the first time, I agree with Lawel on issues of security. And I'm also very extremely happy that they all agree that security matters a lot in the state of a nation. From the evaluation of life or evolution of human beings, security has been part of any state. When you look at all how other states develop, security is a priority. Getting back to our discussion here, you know, it is very interesting to hear some views. But let me just get to the point. I want to also congratulate the NRM government for ensuring that in the last 37 years in the history of this country, a Ugandan can move freely and well from Nimule to Ruakaka, or from Swam to Busia, or from Kisoro to Malaba. In the history of this country, it is clear that it is only this government that has achieved that. You may support it, you may not support it, but it's a fact that the NRM government has been able to repulse 29 insurgencies or groups that wanted to fight this country. That has built capacity, that there is no any insurgency that can build capacity within this country and survive. So for any state that has built capacity...
For ADF?
Sorry?
Would you say the same for ADF?
Because, yes, I'm going to reach to ADF, but I'm saying that in the past 37 years, NRM has been able to fight 29 groups in this country that have tried to disturb the security of the citizens of this country, showing that they have built capacity, that there is no group that can build capacity and fight a government within the state. And that's why the ADFs, they just sneak in, cause mayhem and run away. They cannot survive in this state because NRM has built capacity in terms of protecting its citizens. And that's why, being point number 2, they have lived up to it in the 10-point program. Getting back to the facts, all the few things I've learned about Kasese. World over, there's terrorism in all these countries. And as much as human beings continue to live, issues of terrorism will continue to happen. Conflicts will continue to happen. But we should all discuss is how do we act? How do we manage that? And what is the government doing about it? I send my sincere sympathies to the parents who lost their loved ones in the Kasese killing. It was extremely unfortunate event that any other goodwill citizen of this country should stand with the people of Kasese. It was extremely unfortunate. But we all know that Kasese has been a center of such insurgencies, of such insecurities. But because of the security that has been put up by this government, I think along the way, people relaxed. They were sure of their security. I want to give you something before we dig actually more deeper. Last year on 23rd in December, ADF made an attempt in Toroko district. But citizens were so much on alert that they didn't cause any harm. That by the time they tried to enter and cross our borders and come to disturb the joy of citizens in the areas of Toroko, citizens were able to tell the security, and the security was able to act timely. And there was nothing that they caused, and the rest were arrested. Going back to Kasese, you realize that there are three things I look at when it comes to the issue that happened in Kasese. One, what was the intention of ADF to come to Uganda? Like the president recently said, since the launch of Operation Shuja in Congo, surely they have destabilized ADF in the eastern part of Congo. That they have destroyed their camps, and now ADF has formed into small groups. Now, whereby these small groups, for them, they think that when they come, sneak in the country and cause mayhem, they will force the Operation Shuja to withdraw from Congo to come and protect the borders of Uganda so that they can go back and reorganize. Like our friend put it clear here, that the UPDF has made it hard for them to be organized in Congo. Now that they are disorganized in Congo, they look at how can we go and hurt the country so that they withdraw from us and come and manage their own affairs. If the government has been able to do that, it shows that ADF is such a poorly ideological team to the point that they can come and harm very innocent young people. If they were so strong that they are fighting government, there was a barracks close. They could go and open fire to the detached that was around, to the soldiers that were close by. Then we could have a serious discussion that the army was defeated. For example, what happened in Somalia, we agreed that our forces had to withdraw. You open fire. For example, the Al-Shabaab, they had to go and open fire on the base of the army. But these are ADFs, very poorly ideological. They come and attack the young people. Secondly, the issue of security, it is the issue of everyone. In a state, every citizen is responsible for their security. An attack that was done at 11:30, there are so many questions that, of course, I also don't have answers. Where were the citizens? If they reported,
The people on ground.
I'm
started
coming.
at 8.
Where were the citizens?
Okay.
One, two.
You see.
Okay, they were sleeping.
Hold on.
If the citizens were sleeping,
Was the
Hold
army
on.
sleeping too?
allow me finish this
No,
point.
just hold on. I'll just
People can stay awake.
interrogate that kind of analogy for a second, because the citizens paid their taxes to the government,
To be
Yes.
protected.
so they even don't have to be
Awake.
On
awake
standby.
at that time or on standby.
Thank you.
They
Now
should
that-
be doing their lives, and
It should be happening.
that's why they have paid their taxes for you to work for them security.
You see, the reason why we say that security begins. Okay, where were the citizens when ADF attacked in Toroko? It was the same.
That's what time what
But they were able to report. So the consciousness of every citizen is not inclined on time or paying taxes. Yes, there are states that pay. Okay, do you think that citizens of Congo don't pay tax? Or Sudan citizens don't pay tax? Or Somalia citizens don't pay tax? They all pay tax, but we must participate in the security of our lives.
No, but those
So participation, for example,
those are weak states.
Exactly.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is citizens
So
have
now-
a responsible or have a duty to be vigilant. of what is surrounding them.
And they should be held
That's
accountable.
why
Equity aids there.
The vigilant. But the question is,
yes.
and they should be held accountable when such happens to them.
No, I was finishing my point. I said there are 3 areas to interrogate. Where were the citizens? If citizens were there, where were the security organs? In every district, we have security from
Nimrod is not
local.
asking, like the president was asking us sometime on Twitter, where was this? Where was it?
No. Now, the reason I'm bringing that
but Nimrod,
perspective,
you cannot
Just a
question.
moment.
You cannot question.
Protect
You cannot say question
me, I finish my
a moderate
okay.
Ugandan where even the army failed. It is,
No, it has not
is,
failed.
It is very unfair even to
The army-
mention. It
the
is
army
very
did
unfair
fail.
even to mention the word citizen in this analogy where even the army.
Nimrod, on
Army
that,
has
failed.
not failed. Army,
Nimrod, my
you see,
question
it
is,
is-
on
army
that
has
day,
not
where were
failed.
you
Uh-huh.
at that time? I'm sure
For
you were
you,
somewhere
where
in
you
your
were.
office, because that's what you are supposed to do at that
Definitely.
time.
But as much as I was in office, I'm vigilant of my security in where I am. Me, I cannot be in office and I hear about anything around my area and I keep quiet. I must find out what's happening. That's why I'm saying it is a responsibility of every goodwill Ugandan to know their surrounding. And then I'm not blaming citizens because it's as part of our responsibility, but it's not our sole reason to protect ourselves. I'm
Okay,
saying there
I'll
are other
give you time.
security. Let me just finish. The other security organs that were supposed to act. I also agree there was laxity on our side as a government in terms of because government has intelligence system both inside Uganda and on the other side. And if our intelligence was not able to detect such an act, it was such a great weakness to our side. And then I pray that government go ahead to apprehend the responsible people that were in charge of intelligence, because I can't believe that they can go and open an attack at 11, whereby in security we believe that between the hour of 11 and 4 a.m. security should be awake.
Okay.
So as I conclude, I want to thank the army.
Meanwhile, as
the
the top
UPDF,
of citizens who
I
have
want
been
to
a
thank-
shot a Maniland and took
I want to thank
the gun to CPF
the army,
and even he put
the
it
leadership
there.
of the leadership of the UPDF for rescuing some of the citizens that were captured, and also being able to arrest 24 ADF in that period. That before they crossed back fully to Congo, they were able to arrest some. But just to conclude again, the issue of East African integration, it comes in at such a moment. You realize that actually for UPDF to cross and fight ADF, we must be cleared by African Union and the East African community. And these are just people who have crossed the mountain. But you cannot cross, and we have UPDF have capacity to go and pass that small group the other side. But because it has to get clearance. And when we speak about the urgent need of East African integration and to live up to it, these are the reasons of security.
But
if we are free, then we could be able to go to Congo and fight ADF, and this will be history.
No, I think international law provides for hot pursuit. Laura.
Yeah,
that if a state is under imminent
circumstances.
threat, they can pursue immediately, and then prosecution can come later. But Tyra, I want to bring you in,
Yes, please.
and as you can hear, this very able gentleman and lady, is that what is your own evaluation?
Yes, I'll also first give a disclaimer. But yes, I also have my own opinions as a citizen.
Yeah.
And the fact that all these things are happening around me, I cannot ignore. So I personally feel like people are predominantly focusing on the Kasese incident. And yes, my sympathy goes out to the families that have, been have gone through this issue, and also for the deaths of the 42 young people. But let's not ignore the fact that we're also having gun robberies, and they're happening here in Uganda. We're having people attacking mobile monies, attacking markets, and we've seen the security surveillance videos. And this shows that there is a lack in the security of Uganda, because how are these people actually also accessing the guns? They are not soldiers, they are not police officers to have these guns. So there is a lack there. And how he also said that we lack resources. There are no resources, especially in the sector of security. And
But we just allocated 15% of our budget.
Yes, just
14%.
14.6.
14
If you round off. This is 15%.
15%.
Yeah.
No, just because we allocated those funds doesn't mean that they are actually being put to use
Or they're
for
actually
their
not
actual
enough.
use.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So all they are being stolen.
It's possible.
No, that's
He
the
says,
thing.
oh, they are being
They are being stolen.
Yeah.
There could be that because we can allocate, resources to you, but that doesn't mean that they are actually being used for their intended purpose. So personally, I feel like these attacks, the gun robberies, and also how these police officers are attacking the young citizens. And you've heard of this case of Rodney from UCU, who was attacked by a security guard.
Yeah.
So that shows lack mentally and maybe financially. Maybe these people are frustrated and they are trying to show that, we lack resources, so we won't protect you. Because if they were being given the right resources, they are being given the right training, then I feel like we wouldn't be facing these issues in the first place. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. And I hear you. Only that my contention is around the issue of the monetary allocation. I think that security has continued to enjoy a lion's share of our budget. And by now they should have scaled up to the level where they
Exactly.
can be able to detect, but also to deal with such cases. But Lowell, I don't know. Someone asked here. I think it was Helen who asked, like, what is the motive of these terrorists, for example? We know that, like you said, we are in an era of transnational terrorism, where you have, for example, Boko Haram in Nigeria, but the acts of violence, cut across. You have Al Qaeda in where, Afghanistan?
Middle East, yes.
Yeah?
Middle East.
Yeah, but there are acts of violence cut across. ADF is here, but like the things they do, are transboundary. So I don't know what is. Perhaps let me ask, like she did, what is the motive of these terror groups? Do they intend to simply undermine the state and that is it, or do they have a far-reaching obligation?
Well, they want power.
Yes, I think that
Because Taliban is actually controlling where?
Afghanistan.
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
That Taliban is quite a unique example, given that they were the ones in charge of the country, and then the US removed them, so they were reclaiming leadership. But I think that they seek to, just like political parties, they also seek to establish their ideological beliefs. However incomprehensible they may be to you, I think for them, they hold them dear. And so if, for example, Al-Shabaab wants to establish an extreme Islamic ideology, then it's their mission, which is to take over territory and establish that kind of rule. So I think it's the same with ADF. I think ADF also seeks to upset the current status quo of Uganda and establish itself and what it believes. The same is with LRA. I don't know if you get it. Just because they have not maybe garnered enough capacity to get what they want does not reduce their aspirations to just being one-offs, right? I think being one-offs is a consequence of failure to do much more. But I'm sure without the capacity Uganda has, they would have maybe taken over. I also think we need to be careful when also analyzing these entities, especially if you and him are product of the same. I think that NRM did the same, which was literally get the gun and kill people on its way to getting power. That the difference could be on maybe the beliefs that NRM espouse democratic values. And maybe there's this, it's called the consequentialist theory, where the means doesn't matter. What matters is the end, right?
But Lowell, just to be fair to the NRM, doesn't the approach of the NRM fall within, whereas it is not good law, the Hans-Kelsen theory?
But
whereby for as long as there is majority, for as long as there is a popular support of the people, I
Just to add on
think
that.
revolutions can actually be
Yes,
legalized,
I would like to respond at once.
and a legal framework can be overthrown.
Yes.
And a new one established as long as there is consensus of the people.
Yes, Nimrod.
Just to add on, before NRA, it was called a populist resistance army. That what makes it extremely different, it was had a base of the people. It was built by the majority. It was protected by the citizens. It was supported by citizens. Its ideology was extremely clear. That the reason we are fighting for were extremely clear. Now, that's why we have a question she's asking. What are they fighting for?
Oh.
Every Ugandan by then knew what NRM was.
Okay, now let's
fighting for.
I think that it is very difficult for you to say that NRA had popular mandate or popular support when it was a product of UPM, which didn't garner even 10% of the elections, really. I think it was that while they were killing and upsetting status quo, they were able to provide hope. And with time, that's when everyone came on board. But it's not that the popular support came before the gun. It came after the gun, where the gun would pass, then it would gun, and with time, they were able to mobilize the entire country. But Kidega, you also know that it wasn't the same for northern Uganda. So I think the point I want to make is that just because someone has a cause, I don't think it is justified to use the gun. And much as NRM today may be celebrated by some of you, I think moving forward, we need to, all of us, preach against the use of the gun. Because it's always the foundation. There's always an ideological position, and people think that they can use a gun to attain it. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't do anyone good. And if you want to know how the ADF, it's very difficult to pull it out, even when you destroy its bases. It has an ideological bit of it. It appeals to a particular, indoctrinates a particular section of people who remain true to the ideology, and they're willing to surrender their lives, they're willing to pick it on. I don't think it is true, for example, that with the murder of Kawesi, Chirumira, and these others, the government has not done anything. I'm sure they have been able to break some ADF cells even here in Uganda, inside Uganda. Just that, of course, some of these are not publicized. But the thing is that it's very difficult for you to put an end to an establishment which has an ideological underpinning. And I think that kind of consciousness is important when we are engaging these individuals. You want to understand, why would they kill children? Why would you attack schools? Usually it's the indoctrination. They are told that maybe these are they are kafirs. They are,
future.
I don't know if you get it, that this is and they don't, if for example you saw the writing when Al-Shabaab attacked Ugandan bases, they are calling us crusaders. And so in their eyes, we are not really as what we see ourselves. I think it's an ideological issue. So I think, like I said last time, there is need for us to always approach this discussion from also the ideological bit of it. But I just wanted to say something small. I think it is very dangerous for us to entrust government with the responsibility of protecting us. And then after we are also held accountable. I think that's quite unfair. I think if we are to be honest, all of us at that time.
No, I think, just to be fair to Nimrod's assertions, is that you know that okay, I don't want to quote these guys, but you know, I think it was JF Kennedy who said that before you ask what the government has done for you, what have you done for the government?
The government.
So
what have we done for the government?
I think that Nimrod's assertions is in that spirit of, you know, before you ask for, you know, security, ABCD, what have you done for your personal security?
It's quite unfair. For example, if you hired a security guard at your home and you are attacked, and then the blame is why didn't the children call the neighbors, or why didn't they make noise? I don't know if you get it.
Because like by the time you get a security guard, it means you've done your part to show that you're trying to keep yourself safe.
There's a popular saying. Let me just say this as I conclude. There's a popular saying in Western Uganda. Vakareta usinje hati tuinuturuntu byam. Loosely translated, that when the NRM came in government, we got peace. Now we sleep. It's a popular saying, especially by the politicians. What that signifies is that why we celebrate the NRM achievements and any other government, not just NRM, is that we entrust them with our lives as well. I don't know if you get it, so that we can get sleep. You get, and so we entrust with police and security, so that in the night I can go to work, earn my living, and come and sleep, because there is someone who has that responsibility. As I was asking him, I'm sure any of us here at 8 p.m. is always doing our own business. That is, even when we have responsibility to look out for new people in our communities.
Lowell, I want to ask a question. Would
Yes.
you, for example, take a walk from Chikoni to Wandegea at maybe 4 a.m. in the morning? Would you do that? Because yes, indeed, you paid your taxes and there's a government and blah, blah, blah. Would you do that?
I think it depends on
The circumstance.
in case on circumstances, on what you perceive as the level of threat. But even then, if I don't work, it wouldn't be, it would be a minus on side of government. It's just like a vote of no confidence. It's accepting that the police here is not doing its job, so I can't work. But ideally, if police was doing its job in that part, I should be able to work. But also, context is important. This was a school, honestly. What were they? Why would you expect them not to be where they were? I don't know if you get it. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
this is a school so these are students who are attacked in school. But the major point I'm making really is that there is an entity which has the cardinal primary responsibility to protect citizens, which should always be held accountable when this does not happen.
Fair enough. Fantastic. Yes.
I have an addition on what he said in response to the question, what is their main intention, the ADF, on attacking the Kasese, sorry. So, and then she had mentioned earlier that they attacked the school, but the barracks and then the security guards and the personnel were just how many meters away?
800 and
800 meters. And then they didn't respond as expected, as early as expected. So I personally feel like they also intentionally attack the school instead of the bases to show that we lack that response. We have a weakness in our security. So yes, that's what I really.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I partly agree with you, Helen. The politics around security, and just if we could put the ADF aside for now and look at, for example, I saw some time back the Honorable Matthias Mpuga presenting to Parliament a list of missing citizens and abducted citizens, and then there were accusations from the other side that the opposition is politicizing the issue of security. So I don't know. Do you think that politics has infiltrated security? And even in our analysis and evaluation, we are not perhaps very objective. And, so I don't know. Is there an intertwine between politics and security? Because you know that now we have UPDF members of parliament. So I don't know, is security and politics becoming more intertwined? You have today cabinet ministers who are at the same time serving military officers. So politics and security, are they continuously becoming intertwined?
I don't think they're just intertwined only. I think they're even married. Recently we had to compare two circumstances. There comes a TikToker. He says he's part of ADF and is like among the people that attacked Kasese. And then some time back we had General Muhoozi saying he was going to attack Kenya. Ugandans were saying General Muhoozi it's because he's a drunkard. But then they rushed very fast to tell police to arrest this guy. So if you compare the two, you can see where the focus of Ugandans is. And you can imagine in a country where you look at somebody and you say for that one it was alcohol, and this border guy, you look at him and you cannot even imagine that it is ignorance. Anyway, we don't have ignorance in the law. It doesn't cater for those people. But to answer your question, I think we cannot do away with politics in this country, because politics has become a whole sum of everything that we do every other day here. Politics has entered everything, including the army, including security, even in schools. Everything that you do in this country is politics. you look at the general now campaigning, he wants to become a president, and there's nothing being done against that, you know. So that's when you get to know that in this country, it is about the ruthlessness maybe that the government has failed to differentiate between what he's supposed to do and what he's not supposed to do, and that comes because we even when you look at the interjoining of NRM and the state, because now it's so hard to differentiate between the two, that itself will again zero down and affect even us down here, that we shall start believing that everything that happened is politics. We have the army representation in parliament, and we also have some former security personnel as ministers, you know, in this country, and then we would think that with that representation, as a country, would be safer. But where we have the army joining parliament, which is almost politics, save for legislation as it's supposed to be doing only, then we cannot separate the two, because bringing the army to parliament and into politics, and you know, sometimes, yeah, when we even hear from Fande Kolaija, when something's happen, you really see that he's very politically inclined somewhere. When we have uprisings and maybe during some political seasons, you can already see where security is leaning, and that's what sets the pace of some of us to say that there is some politics in the police and in the security organs. We can have, for example, a campaign, and you find the other side is very much protected than the other. Recently there was an election. Remind me of the place where the ballots were full at 8 a.m. Bukede, and you know.
Oh no, well, there were allegations of ballot stuff.
I happened to have gotten a message very early in the morning from Nasuru of FDC, complaining about the same, and I told him, you know, that's why sometimes DP abstains from those elections, you know. So where we have the security protecting such I don't know how I can call it, because it is such an inhuman character to think that to set an election and then by 8 a.m. the security is there just guarding already voted, you know, an already voted candidate. It is something that we should be thinking about as a country, where we have the police cells full of opposition people, and the police is very quick to arrest them. I want to assume that if it was even an average Ugandan who had posted what General Muhoozi had posted, I don't know which barracks that person would be, or which cell. But because we have a government that tries to protect some class of people and it doesn't protect some other class of people, then we shall not have politics left out of the security wing. Yes.
All right, we are due for a short commercial break, and Nuru, I'll begin with you after this.
Thank you.
To the viewers, yeah, just don't move a muscle. See you shortly.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create, and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices, and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
We'll be back from that short commercial break. Nimrod, of course, you have concerns to, make your points on, but also as you do that, the relationship between unemployment, poverty, and insecurity.
Thank you. Well, I want to answer a few things that comrades have raised. One, I had my sister here saying, why did they send the First Lady to go and be the one to see what's happening? You see, the question should be, which people were attacked? So school-going students.
How about
Peoples.
the who attacked?
Before we
Shouldn't
talk
be
about
the
who
question.
attacked, the question is, who did they attack? They attacked school-going people. And really, she's the Minister of Education. She must go and give assurance to the parents of the kids that survived.
But Nimrod,
That please.
sorry to interrupt,
allow
we've
me.
had serious issues about the education ministry. Recently, we had alarms about expired courses. The lady did not come out.
Thank
We've
you.
had serious issues that this lady should have come out for.
I think another day we will invite us to talk about those other serious issues. Now we are talking about security. So she went to give assurance, not only to the nation, but specifically to condole with the parents as the Minister of Education,
Oh, as mama.
as the mother of the country, to see that they have a reason not to take away their children from school. We realize that so many schools closed after the attack. They're not sure of their kids being safe at school. So as a responsible leader, they had to make such a move. Secondly, people who are saying that citizens are not responsible, or it's not their mandate to be involved in security matters, then I don't understand if we are on this same planet. Because at the end of the day, we are the most affected people when it comes to insecurity. So, even though there was laxity on the side of our security organs, the country now is focusing on how to sensitize citizens of Kasese and all other border areas of the country on vigilancy, because it is our duty that the ratio of the security personnel to the number of citizens is around 7. So meaning that we cannot be able to deploy on every meter, that every meter we shall put a security person in the country. It can't just happen. But what happens is that we shall have a support system. When you watched in Parliament, I was in shock when a member of Parliament from Kasese, the woman MP, said that it was so shocking that one of the escapees went to a nearby police station, which was 800 meters away, and reported of the loud voices that were going on in the school, and the police didn't act. For goodness sake, police has had the rebels have attacked. They must have capacity to before they can repulse that. Because I can't imagine that a police station that is manned with maybe 10 security personnel would rush to go and see what's happening. They must be so conscious that it must be able to build capacity to go and repulse. And that's why later when they build capacity, they're able to do something. Yes, I know it is the duty that they must have.
What is their mandate?
Their mandate is that they must be able. That's what security, you see, when you're discussing security issues, it is important that we put it into perspective. You don't expect 2 personnel who are in a security police station to run and repulse a full platoon or a battalion of ADF that has attacked. They must be able to reinforce and be able to attack. So in that process of reinforcing, the delay happened.
ADF at that point?
Sorry?
How did they know it was ADF at that point?
No. If they tell you that there has been a team that has attacked a school, or there's a people who are attacking a school, one, you must, if they didn't have intelligence to inform them, they must be able to gather information before they can just attack. They can't just attack in the dark. Definitely, security believe that the best soldier is the one who is still alive. So they had to first build and reinforce. After reinforcing, we also what happened? They were able to follow them up and get those who were captured back and also able to apprehend a number of the terrorists. So it is important that when we are discussing this, we put in perspective that these are also human beings that are taking care of citizens. They don't live in another, yes, they are trained and all that, but they're also human. The mistakes happen. And this was a wake-up call. And I want to thank government in a sense that now they have been waking up, that everywhere in the country now the security is so much awake. It has been a while.
Yes, thank you.
So-
for
So,
what?
so, it
So we
was
thank them that
it was
they are
important
now
that the
intensified
attack takes place.
the sensitization and the reinforcement. The president made it clear
You
that
thank
we have now
government
said,
or ADF for who worked up.
no, we thank government because they have been able now to send and reinforce on all border
That's
centers.
the joke.
Of course, maybe
Because
because
it
you see
brings
security. When
in-
you're talking about security, I don't think we can be able to talk jokes in these issues of security.
When you say
You
that we
cannot
should
make jokes on
when you say
matters.
that we should thank the government, it's really a serious joke.
All right, that's to your perspective.
Because that brings in that
We
something
can
but,
thank
um,
the
has to
ADF
offer.
for
I thank
awakening this
that
government.
they are now reinforcing on all the border centers and also having a massive sensitization to the citizens of all the border areas in this country to know that anything can happen from any corner. But it is our cardinal role as citizens to help security to perform their duty. But also, I also agree with Comrade Zia that yes, it was a laxity on our part as people who are given mandate by the citizens to protect them in the next 5 years. It is important that we are so much awake. And you see, the president said something, I don't know if he paid attention to it, that some of the issues that bring these ADFs to come and do that, they are coordinated within by the citizens. You realize one of the people they captured who was the team leader is a Msoga, from Msoga. And now it gets back to how can a citizen of a country be proud to go ahead and attack innocent citizens? The war now should be fought ideologically. That is just beyond the gun, like you say. The ideological part of it, that a citizen of this country who is not patriotic enough to defend the country, they are going to support ADF in coordinating an attack.
That's why I
In
asked
a
you a
country.
question that could
So
you
I'm
connect
getting
for
back
us
to
unemployment
Yeah.
and this, because I think some of these people who you're calling unpatriotic are being forced into such things because of their conditions of living. You're
No.
there,
Financial
like,
frustration.
yeah,
Okay,
not
okay,
after all what is there to live for. So
Economical insecurity.
So it is sad, it is extremely sad that citizens can connive with terrorists to cause mayhem to their loved country. Maybe some, they don't love it like some of us do. Now, when getting back to the question of poverty and how it's connected, you see, and unemployment. How many Ugandans are unemployed today? A number of them. How many are they participating in insecurity? Definitely the isolated ones. So we cannot say that unemployment has caused such a disoriented ideological person to coordinate terrorism. It is something that is far-fetched. The issue of terrorism, it is an ideological issue. So a citizen who is unemployed and said, I have nothing to lose, it already speaks on how much they're not patriotic to be Ugandans. Because if you're Ugandan, as much as you're unemployed, but your friends are employed in the same state, you have relatives employed in the same state, how would you be happy that you're coordinating a terror that will cause mayhem to your friends who are unemployed or your parents or your relatives, as much as you're not employed? And in any other way, after you causing mayhem and security in the country, will you be able to be employed? Definitely not. Okay, maybe even though you get resources from terrorism, where are you going to put it if your family is lost through terrorism? So it is a far-fetched matter that unemployment should be connected to insecurity or to terrorism. I believe that every goodwill Ugandan should be able to have the stand that whatever it takes, the issue of protecting a country or supporting the development of a country is a priority. Let me give you an example. In America, there's a journalist when America had attacked Afghanistan who captured a video of an American soldier beating a citizen. When he went back to the newsroom and gave an editor the video, he thought he had made it so much that he had been able to capture a video of an American soldier beating a citizen in a foreign country. The editor told them, regardless, this is American soldiers. We cannot show them anywhere else. that whatever happens in a country, end of the day we remain Ugandans. And it is our cardinal role to ensure that there's nothing over you unemployed, over there's poverty, over there's anything that should compromise our well-being of the country.
Yeah.
Because the moment we reduce ourselves as a state, that because you are devastated, you are unemployed, you're not happy, then it is okay to be the country to be attacked. Then that speaks to how ideological disoriented we are. And I pray that the National Youth Service is brought to speed so that we go back to Muchaka. That these young people should be oriented in these few issues of security so that they know it is their cardinal responsibility to protect their state. As much as I'm unemployed, I know that if a country is progressing, one day I'll be employed.
True.
If a country is able to attract investors because of peace, my relatives will be employed, my children will be employed. So it is our cardinal role that we are patriotic enough to support a state and our power to develop and to avoid terrorism. And I pray.
Just my comment on patriotism, and I think this argument I have made before, which is that I think patriotism should not be an academic concept that you take me to a classroom and say, okay, now you guys please love Uganda. No. I think your day-to-day experience as a Ugandan should make you love the country naturally. That when, for example, you are facing an issue, in case you find yourself interfacing with Uganda police, do they treat you in a way that you feel like you are a citizen of this country? That when you go to, for example, Mulago Hospital, do you feel wow, my country loves me? I mean, I am paying my taxes and indeed their services. You know, when you drive on the roads, do you feel like, wow, this country is, So I think it should be about how you experience the country.
Now, let me just give you a short example as I conclude. In Korea, I want to see how they teach patriotism to the citizens. As a kid is growing up, child.
Which Korea?
Let me go with North Korea. When they give a kid a yellow banana, the parent first eats half and gives the kid half. And he tells the kid that, you see why I'm giving you that half? Because the Americans' friend ate the half of it. So you're not able to have full. So the kid grows up knowing that when you fight and protect your country, you'll be able to have a full banana. So it is taught at a family basis. A kid grows up knowing that it is their duty to protect Korea because of the things they give. Well, every kid would love to have a full banana, but when he given half, we grow up getting half. And in their mind, knowing that it is our cardinal role to protect Korea so that I can have a full banana. Now, in a state whereby our parents have given up on teaching children how to love their country, then it gets back to the government to say, we cannot just also look on. That's why I say, as much as it is good that what we experience should teach us about patriotism, but there must be a basis that there was a political education here. And one of the things they were teaching was patriotism. So it is important that we, as I say, cannot just ignore that, because citizens will experience their life in the country and they learn about patriotism. It is a cardinal of a state to teach citizens that please go on your family basis, teach these children that corruption is bad, loving your country should be a priority in whatever you do.
Okay, fantastic. So our time is fast spent. Let's just wrap up the issue of security. I'll just pick your last recommendations on security. And I'm going to do Helen as I come towards Nimrod. Just your recommendations in a minute. I
really appreciate that this was a very timely topic to discuss as young people of this country, because it is a matter of us all, and we should all be concerned that the security of this country determines whether you'll be there to see that tomorrow Uganda that we are fighting for or not, because all of us are striving so hard to be there tomorrow to see the future of Uganda. But there will not be future if we do not focus and be concerned about the security matters of this country. And I really want to say that this government should seriously pull up its socks in regard to the security matter, because security has the biggest budgetary allocation. So we do not want to be in a state where we're not putting resource to the right use, and then we continue to have insecurities in the country. We believe that the government now is awake enough to protect the citizens of this country, because a lot has taken place, and we believe that maybe if they were asleep, that was an enough alarm for this government to wake up. And then we continue to call upon the government to really exercise its mandate to protect the citizens of this country, because that is one of its mandates. And if it cannot, then we can also think of another plan B on how we can deal with these insecurities as Ugandans, because we can. I don't believe that the youngest generation of this country, which is the majority, should just keep looking on as these insecurities are taking place, because after all, they are only affecting us. It is our sisters, it is our brothers, and it's our fathers and mothers that are dying. So it's high time as youth we also pulled up our socks and stopped just talking about the government on what it's doing for us. We need to put our numbers to use as youths of this country.
All right, thank you. Yes, Ndugulawe.
I think much has already been discussed since we started the discussion. Maybe one I would like to encourage the viewers to disregard that Chankwanzi long lecture on patriotism. I don't think really it is the solution to insecurity. But I hope that the government can become much more vigilant, especially on issues of security within the country. The one-off incidents where the guns are in the wrong hands. I think the problem with that is that anyone can be a victim of gun violence. And so I think that government should take it much more serious, because at the end of the day, last time it was a minister who died. You don't know who next it could be. So I think that we continue to support the ADF, the UPDF.
Ndugulawe.
You see, the thing is that with time also the line has become blurred. We don't know who is in Congo, who is at the border. Someone is in Congo, then behind him there's an attack. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say, I think that we should pray that the UPDF is able to step up and deal with the issue of the ADF. Otherwise, I also continue to pray for ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes. With the issues that have been discussed, I want to thank the government at the end of the day that at least they are trying to put in place those different bases at the border. But then it would also be very good to always be precautious. Like, we don't have to wait for something to happen in order to react or to put in place what is supposed to be there in the very first place. Like the Kasese incident, there should have already been bases to protect. So, and the other thing is they should also invest more in intelligence, because through this you get to know what kind of insecurity that is going to occur before it actually happens, so that we are ready to tackle these issues. So yes, that's all I could say.
Nimrod, your final words.
Thank you. I send greetings to the young people who are able to do and transform their societies amidst all what's happening in this country. And also I stand with those that have lost their loved ones, that are going through a lot as young people. There's a lot that goes around us. I request that we persist and we continue pursuing transformation of our societies. Finally, on the issue of security, I continue to congratulate the Army, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, for their continuous perseverance to ensure that Ugandans from border, from corner to corner, they are secure and can go on their business daily without any hindrances. I thank also the leadership and the executive leader of this country for enabling the security of this country in terms of allowing that enough resources are allocated to the security part of the country. We know that without security, then there is no community, and security begins with all of us in all our aspects of life. I thank you.
Fantastic. All right, Helen.
Yes, ma'am.
Your political party has before entered an MOU with the National Resistance
A
Movement.
cooperation agreement.
A cooperation agreement, yeah. Did you open floodgates? for, sort of cooperations with the NRM, because, the Honorable NRM-Mapenduzi was chairing a committee appointed by the NUP. Now he happens to chair a committee appointed by the NRM. Yes, whereas he is an independent member of parliament. I don't know. What do you make of this? Perhaps you're comfortable with it because, you've done the same.
First of all, I want to inform viewers that as DP, we do not believe in political untouchability, and we believe in dialogue, because we believe that dialogue is one of the ways of solving issues in our society. We as, besides being DP, we are Ugandans, and we have a mandate to participate in building the Uganda that we want. And on that very note, I want to say that if what NRM-Mapenduzi did is for the good of the citizens of Gulu, then it is really a good thing, and I will give it a go ahead. Because I wonder why, when NUP appoints our MP for shadow ministerial position, they do not come to consult DP. But then when we get a position the other side, there is a lot of noise being made on the street. So we wonder the goodwill that is within this country. Because I believe that if we're not careful as politicians and in politics, we are running away from the main cause, because the main cause is to build this country into the country that we would wish all to be in. But when you're not talking together, when you're not giving in your views and you choose to sit back and keep quiet, because when you're not dialoguing, then you're sitting back with your ideas. But when you choose to advance and then present to the government that, as DP, this is what we believe in, and it was aforementioned by our president, that for us, we are working towards seeing that Uganda changes without bloodshed. We believe in a peaceful transition, and that is what our cooperation agreement was about. I am yet to find out. I haven't even seen anything like a draft from Honorable Ojala's agreement or maybe MOU, but I believe if it is a move that would advance the goodness and work towards the development of the people of the constituency that he represents, then it is a good move. It is high time that we worked towards changing our mindset, and we stopped looking at things in a negative way. With Ugandans lately, we as politicians, we are focusing too much on negativity than positivity. Yet we are supposed to look at the positives, because they are the ones that will help us and neglect the negatives in the political atmosphere. Apparently, I want to believe that the cooperation agreement between Ojala and the NRM is ideologically driven, because he's been independent, and he ran independent. I don't think that he was not seeing NRM by the time that he ran for that ticket, because NRM was there then. So that means that he believes there must be some indifference between the two, and that's why he chose to run independent first. But maybe in the middle there, he saw something good and said, we can cooperate along this line. Because the cooperation does not mean that you have been amalgamated or you've been enjoying together. It means that you are agreeing on certain aspects. And I believe that is what Ojala is trying to inform this country. I think it should even drill down to us, the young people of this country, that I may have something bad, but then I have something good. So can we work together towards advancing the goodness that is already in the line? So for us in the DP side, we believe that an enemy should be talked to, because talking to your friend every other time may not help. But when you talk to your enemy,
maybe can we replace the word enemy with maybe an adversary, because the word enemy, I think, is too strong for political dispensation.
Okay, so maybe we can say
An opponent.
Opponent, okay,
Yeah.
yes. We believe that talking to an opponent is good, because you get to sit on the table and then know what they are capable of doing, and also tell them what you're capable of doing, because you have a manifesto as a politician, as you're running for an office. You have a manifesto, but then if you're not even in power, it becomes very hard for you to do what? to implement. So sometimes it is also hard, it is also good to lobby out. And you know, you reach out to the NRM and say, you guys, you're the ones in power. But this is what I think about this country. But when you keep quiet and then you choose to sit back, then it does not benefit this country. And many people are seated on good ideas, suffocating this country, not helping this country because they believe in not talking to the opponent, which shouldn't be the case. For me, I believe that if I have my good idea and I believe that Comrade Nimrod can help me advance it and it is implemented, I should be able to reach out to Nimrod and say, you know, this and this is what I believe in, and how should we really work towards this? But not really shying away and choosing to sit back, because there you are not going to benefit this country.
Lawyer, what's your own opinion? But perhaps if you could shed some light on the legality.
I think that, for example, the cooperation agreement or the MOU is actually legal. I think for me it is the political bit of it. I think that, and I was discussing with, I think I was telling her that what actually happened is that Mapenduzi actually crossed the NRM. The issue, the problem, why he can't maybe enter the books of NRM is because the law does not allow him to cross, because I think provides that when a member of parliament exits one party and joins another, then they cease to hold their political leadership positions, apart from the last year when it is towards the general election, and we're discussing the case of Sechku and others versus Attorney General, which was essentially resolving that when Sechko and colleagues were defied the NRM position and NRM banned them from the party and they had to go to court. So I think that what essentially happened is that Mapenduzi crossed NRM. He just can't legally, sign documents because he would lose his position. Because I ask myself, is the memorandum of understanding to do what? I don't know if you get it. If you are an independent member of parliament, you're not bound and you're not forced, whether by opposition or NRM, to make any propositions or to defend any policy position, whether it's from NRM or opposition, as long as it makes sense to the people, to you, and to the people you represent. So I don't think I need to write down and have an event unveiling me to do the job I'm supposed to do. I also think that it's just an indication that maybe our multi-party system is still young, because people should not belong to parties merely for convenience. I think why there are different political parties is because they have different positions on how, for example, resources should be distributed or how power should be managed. And I think that's always the ideological difference between political parties. For me, it seem that our political parties in Uganda is just what's moving, because in the first place, there is a reason why you sit why you belong to where you belong. So if you're, like she says, center-right, and you believe in this particular way of sharing resources or the position of government in people's lives, unless that core has changed, I don't see why you should cross from DP to NRM. If it is about making contribution, I think there exists a framework where even people in opposition can contribute to national policy. And I think that's why platforms like the parliament exist. I don't think, and that's why we have, for example, the Office of Leader of Opposition and the whip. It is the recognition that you are not in power. One is that being opposition, you're constantly challenging government so that you can take it out and establish your way, your position, your way of how to distribute resources. But when you're still in that opposition, you have a platform in parliament to make policy propositions or to even challenge those that are brought in by government that you don't think are going to work. And that's why you have opposition in parliament. Otherwise, it would be a single party parliamentary system, right? So I think there exist channels through which opposition can can propose or can even make a contribution to the country. Those platforms exist. Now, away from that, I think there is also the realization that because I think government has a major role to make political parties also work, because they are the ones with the resources. I think there is also an understanding also then from opposition that this government does not accept that, and that is why constantly, even when there is a ridiculous proposal from NRM, it is very difficult for NRM MPs to debate it objectively on its merits. And that's why you always have them saying yes, yes, even without interrogating the substance of those positions. And so I think that really the problem is that our democracy is still young. People don't understand why they belong where they belong, and that's why it's easy for them to always cross when it is convenient. You saw the crusade from FDC and DP City Council councillors, NUP, I think before the last election, and even MPs. And there is nothing fundamental about the ideological difference between two parties. I think, but for me, I think this crossing really is not so much about uh, what you stand for. I think it is also the political calculation. I think there are those who believe that we are in a transition period, and it's a question of where is it going? How do I have to position myself? But also, for example, DP has a justified position. They think that it's going to be difficult maybe to have change of power without discussing and negotiating, and therefore it is important for us to sit with a person who has the tools of power, because he can use them recklessly if not well handled. So I think this discussion should not be pressed in a wider discussion of political parties. I think it should be brought into the context of transition and how everyone wants to fit into that equation.
All right. Terry,
Yes, please.
what's your own thoughts about
What
this whole
is-
crossing over? Yeah.
Okay, my own thought about this whole crossover is people are taking it more on a personal level than in a political level. And I would want to second what you were saying, that it should be normalized that yes, you can actually work together with your opponent to reach a common goal. And yes, they can actually come together, and I don't believe there is nothing they can agree on. I'm sure they share a number of ideologies and opinions, and they can actually sit together and find a common ground. Yes, and him crossing over, I feel like it shouldn't have been a necessity. If he really wanted to involve himself with the NRM party, he can just go and share their ideologies. They find a common ground, execute it, and then still at the DP side. That's my thought.
Nimrod, you're the guys who are
He was,
Eating big.
he was
who are
the-
poaching.
he was among the people unveiling.
Guys who are poaching. Yeah, but
Poacher.
your own thoughts. But what does this mean for our multi-party dispensation?
Thank
That,
you.
You know, and an MP can join parliament on a given, ticket, and then along the way they can switch. I don't know.
Thank you. Since the establishment of the national resistance movement, I highly believe that the founders of the national resistance movement were so keen and clear in choosing the words they used, the national resistance movement. There's a reason they didn't call it the National Resistance Party or the National Resistance. That's why it's called NRM. The word movement clearly indicates that this is a team of individuals who have a common understanding and are pursuing a clear mission. From day one, the leader of NRM has continuously demonstrated why he believes this country is supposed to be in a movement. He believed that in a movement, if Tara has the same idea we share today, come in this bus, let's move together. When we reach a certain stage and you disagree with what the position we are taking, we shall pick another one on that stage, put in the bus, we continue driving. The whole point is pursuing the mission of society transformation. So, if the movement is determined to transform society, it is compelled to go ahead and bring all the actors on board that help in social transformation. Why political parties are formed? Two things: to retain power, to get power and retain it. NRM has got the power. It focuses on retaining what? Power. Now, when you really focus on retaining power, if there's a member who is interested in coming to you and working together in the mission, then they're welcome. Getting direct to the Honorable Jara, I get surprised when Ugandans make this a point of discussion. Why? When we signed the memorandum of understanding with Okabe, the new independent MP from Serere, it was not a discussion, but he came to the secretariat, introduced by the chief whip, signed an MOU that as much as I came on independent ticket in parliament, I ought to support NRM ideas.
See, the difference is that Ojara has been chairing a committee appointed by an
Ojara is a
opposition political party.
distinguishable member of society.
So you mean others are not distinguishable
Yes.
members of society? Now, that's the ideological orientation that is there.
But we are
So-
honestly,
so-
some leaders are more significant than others. It's a fact. It's not an ideological issue.
It is not true because every leader serves in the best interest of their capacity.
Okay,
So if we are not talking about
cross
members
and
of
see if you'll
parliament,
make headlines.
if we are talking about members of parliament, I believe all of them have the same mandate. I don't believe that some members of parliament have more constitutional rights than other duties
I think
than
perhaps
others.
what
So-
you're saying is that the experience and
They're
that
standing
kind
in
of
society.
Even the value.
the decorum
Yeah,
that
the value.
someone-
The
yeah.
value. Some people are
Now,
really-
getting back to what we are discussing, these are just distracting our points. The matter is, NRM has continuously showed the country that they are ready to work with anyone willing to work with them. We have a cooperation with the DP, and we are all pursuing a mission of society transformation. It is clear. Honorable Mapenduzi is coming home. It is a matter that he has just realized that this is where the powers are in terms of society transformation. The tools
So
are.
when the powers change,
You see, because we are given, the Ugandans gave NRM a mandate, a constitutional mandate, that you are in charge of this country for the next 5 years. Meaning you have all the tools of society transformation. He has realized that even though he was appointed by NUP to chair the local government committee and all that, he has done not much. He realized that now he's given an opportunity in the movement, he's able to go and transform the people of Acholi. He's much proud and he comes. And two, what is in this memorandum of understanding? I'm sure they're all questioning. One of them that is allowed to attend our caucus as an independent and come and share his views. The caucus of NRM that sit and say, what are the government business in the next parliamentary sessions? These are the issues that we want to debate and legislate on. And he's allowed to come and say, as the people of Wacholi in this, because we are the majority as NRM, I propose that these are the matters we also discuss in that line. So he's given now that ticket as it is part of the MOU that is free to come to Chankwan's retreats and attend the caucuses of NRM. Secondly, he can also bring a nation or a bill, a motion in parliament that is supported fully by the NRM members of parliament. So, because we're in a multi-party dispensation, as you said, that every party has an agenda they are what? Driving. So if they know that have the majority, and you also realize that you're independent and you don't have the majority, why don't you work with those that have the majority to help and serve your people? Because end of the day, why do we have leadership in communities? End of the day is we want to see that leaders work day and night to transform communities. Now, if in transformation of communities, you have to work with those who have the tools to help you. Honorable Mapenduzi realizes now that actually the tools of transformation lie within the ruling government. But away from that, as I conclude, I want to make it clear, NRM is a movement. And in a movement system, everyone is welcome on board. And I want to appeal to all other leaders out there that it is just important and better to realize as early enough to come and be part of the movement. Because at the end of the day, these are the things you need to transform your society. So if the movement is there and very welcoming, it is important that as a leader out there, you come and be part of
the movement.
Something small. I think I agree with him. I don't think that NRM should apologize for recruiting and expanding. I think it's the interest of every party to grow as much as possible. And if you can get someone of value like Mapenduzi, why not? Or get to work with a historical party like DP. I think there's no need for really for NRM to apologize or anyone.
You
Really.
should be proud, yeah.
I think they should. It should be sort of accountability that they are working for the people who are working for NRM party. But I think that largely also opposition parties should spend less time criticizing those that cross to asking themselves why these people are crossing. I find that most of, especially major opposition parties, do very little to add value to themselves that would make them much attractive to attract people of much value in this country. It has really been long where you find someone of good standing in society crossing to a political party, especially unless they understand that they need maybe the party card to win the general elections. I think that our opposition parties are also much lacking in terms of branding themselves and doing a lot to attract, especially the elite in those parties to steer the party forward.
All right, thank you. Guys, our time is fast spent, but I'll give you each 90 seconds to give us your parting shots on this particular topic. Helen, I'll begin with you as I come towards Nimbo.
First of all, I want to make it clear that whereas Mapenduzi just made his position to clear that he can work with the NRM, for us in DP, we tried all the necessary avenues that were available. We've tried to cooperate with the FDC. We tried and cooperated with the former PM. We tried to cooperate with all the other opposition parties when we started the UID reunions, and it failed. And we were like, now this that has failed, let us look for this person that has power, and we see that we can get the power from him peacefully, and we bargain about it. And I think as Ugandans, we should appreciate the fact that we have some of the leaders and the political parties that think about our lives and think about our well-being in the political arena, because there is a possibility that if we don't take this country serious, and if we don't take some serious decisions, though hurting, we are likely to lose it all, because where we are a fragile state. At the moment, anything can happen. We've had a government that has been here longer. We have generations waiting to take over power. We have the generation of the Norbert Maos, the Bobby Wines are there, and my generation is also not seated. We want power, you know. So everything that we have at the moment, we must take it serious, because my generation is the biggest and it wants power. There's another one of the 2000s that is coming up. So we must do anything and everything in our mandate to protect this country, because the country should come first. Even when we think of politics, the country should come first. And it is also the mandate of the ruling government to also provide a leveled ground for all politicians to play, because this is like a playground. The crisscrossing and the changing of political positions is a sign that we do not have clear avenues where we can speak as even when you're in your position, because we must first agree that NRM has the biggest number in Parliament of Uganda, and unless otherwise, if they support you, your bill may not pass. So first of all, we must think of that, and then after 5 years, you have to go back and give accountability of what you've done for your people. So it is also a sign that we just have a failed government, and we must not really think so much about multi-party dispensation, because if it is that, then there must be level ground that my idea will work whether we agree or not, because it is for advancing of the good and well-being of the people. But by the fact that you must be supported by a certain political entity for your idea to go through, whether it's good or bad, then we should really be praying for this country. I want to appreciate the viewers, and I want to appreciate everyone who takes off their time of their schedule to watch this program, because these are the programs through which we get to give our views to the nation, and through which we get to build our country. So sparing the time to watch a talk show of the young people is something that we should give credit to. And I just want to appreciate the host for hosting us this time also, and thank Civic Space for creating this platform where the young people can meet and talk about issues in this country, because the space through which the young people in this country speak is very, very limited. There is a lot of I don't know. I think struggling for space in this country, that the young people apparently have very limited space, which we must stand up and create ourselves, because it is almost not there. Sometimes you go to an engagement which is talking about the young people and you don't find them there. You find the people talking about issues of young people are not young, and the justification is that we were ever young, but dynamics, you know.
Change.
So it is a credit that there is this platform, at least, where young people get to meet and discuss issues that concern this country, because this country is for all of us, and we actually have the biggest share as young people, because we are the majority at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, Ndugulawel.
You know, I like young people. Eh? That's why we are enjoying this sort of thing of being the majority. I think at some point we should have some time to give our parents some credit. That said, I want to thank again our viewers for always tuning in to listen to us. I think the best way to shape this nation is through discussing and having our minds meet. As you can see, that they are really the foundation. Really, there are things we all agree on as the panelists, which I think if we as young people can continue to have these conversations, then with time we shall build the country we want. Absolutely, there's a lot that is wrong in our country that even the good that we can do better. And I think that we have a clean slate as young people to write the kind of nation that we want. I think that's why, for me, I'm always interested in these conversations. Otherwise, thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, Tara.
Yes, I want to start off by thanking you for hosting me and being part of this team today. And also, I'm grateful for Civic Space for creating this platform for us to actually share our views and our analytics when it comes to what's going on around us and in our country. And the fact that such platforms for the young and the youth to share their ideologies is very limited. I'm happy that we at least have this chance so that they can see that we are representing them and we are putting henceforth the issues that are going on, so they can relate to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Nimrod.
Thank you. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the leader, the Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, upon his completion of 2 years in office. Right Honorable Adit Richard Tudung, you have done extremely well for uniting the party from its national headquarters to the grassroots. You have been so good, and we pray that you continue steering us in the right direction to continue transforming the society of Uganda. In also a special way, I want to thank the leadership and the management of Civic Space for continuously being persistent in creating space for discussions. And the number of programs that are managed by Civic Space TV that continue to dig into dialogue and how to bring people to discuss. You can see here we are from different political parties, but we come and agree on issues and disagree to agree. Something special about our generation. I continue to thank them and our moderator for always inviting me here. It is always an honor and a pleasure coming around and sharing my views. I thank you, and to our viewers, see you again if given an opportunity.
Wow, that by all means is the end of this conversation. Thank you very much, colleagues. Helen, Lawel, Tyra, and Nimrod, thank you for sparing the time to be on this week's episode of the Youth Roundtable. And of course, to Rashid and the technical team. It's always our gratitude that you ensure that our viewers get this show right on time. Well, until next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.